Pro football players are one in a million. So many try to go pro, but so few make it. But how much of this is random luck, and how much of it comes from their parents? From superstar dads to alcoholic ones, how good was every legend's dad at football actually? Let's start off with England's number 10, Jude Bellingham, who just can't stop scoring clutch goals for England and Real Madrid, from last-minute bicycle kicks to absolute screamers in El Clasico. At the age of 22, Jude's already a legend, and his younger brother Job isn't bad either, as he follows in Jude's footsteps at Borussia Dortmund. But how good was their dad? Well, Jude's almost scored 100 goals in his career, but his dad, Mark Bellingham, has scored more than 700. Combining his day job as a policeman with playing football in the English non-league system, Mark Bellingham banged in roughly a goal a game. He even earned a £10,000 transfer fee, won the Southern Premier League, and had a trial at Leyton Orient where he scored after just 30 seconds, but dropped down the leagues a bit to combine football with policing the streets of Birmingham and raising his footballer's sons. But his secret to success was to stay fit so that he could score more in the last few minutes when everyone else was knackered. And one of his former clubs, Leamington FC, even calls him their most prolific scorer of all time. But what about Jude Bellingham's England teammate Harry Kane? Well, the Bayern Munich frontman says his sporting genes come from his mum's side of the family. And speaking of England's sporting families, former England and Chelsea midfielder Frank Lampard has not just a famous former footballing dad, but also footballing legends for his uncle and cousin. Frank Lampard scored hundreds of goals for Chelsea, where he would often arrive late in the box to score crucial goals, as he won the Premier League 3 times, the Champions League, and was the UEFA Midfielder of the Year in 2008. But he started his career at West Ham United, where his father, Frank Lampard Sr., was already a club legend. Frank Sr. played more than 500 games for the Hammers as a left-back and won the FA Cup twice, as well as playing twice for England. After finishing his playing career, Frank Sr. became the assistant manager of West Ham, and at the time, Frank Lampard was also playing for West Ham as a youth player, which led to accusations of nepotism, and those accusations were made worse by the fact that Frank Sr.'s brother-in-law and Frank Lampard's uncle, Harry Redknapp, was the West Ham manager at the time. When fans told Harry that they thought Frank Lampard was fat and useless, and that he should have been released instead of other players, Redknapp publicly said that he thought Lampard would go on to the very top of the game, and he was proven right. And he should know, as he's the father of England and Liverpool legend Jamie Redknapp, who was literally part of the 2000-2001 UEFA Cup winning team and literally married a pop star before later becoming a TV pundit. But his dad Harry also played football for West Ham and Bournemouth, and even Seattle Sounders in the US, before becoming one of the Premier League's most iconic managers with his cockney wheeler-dealer approach to the transfer market. Still to come are a father and son who played for bitter Spanish rivals, a World Cup winner whose dad became a politician, and one player whose footballing journey might have been decided by a brutal tackle on his dad. Staying with Harry Redknapp's former team Bournemouth, who have a habit of finding underrated star, one of those is Justin Kluivert. He was a Europa League runner-up with Ajax and played at the 2026 World Cup for the Netherlands, as well as having the strange honor of being the first player to score a hat-trick of penalties in the Premier League. His dad, Patrick Kluivert, is a bona fide Dutch legend. When he was 18, he came off the bench for Ajax in the 1995 Champions League final against AC Milan and scored a late goal to win the Champions League for the Dutch side. He would later play for Milan and Barcelona, and won the Golden Boot at Euro 2000 while playing for the Netherlands. He would also miss a crucial penalty against Italy at Euro 2000, hitting the post. Then, 26 years later to the day, his son Justin would miss an identical penalty against Morocco at the 2026 World Cup, also hitting the post. Patrick Kluivert's dad and Justin's granddad, Kenneth Kluivert, was also a footballer in Suriname, where he played several times for the national team before moving to the Netherlands. Ajax's 1995 Champions League win reminded people that underdogs can sometimes win it all. Every player in the Premier League's greatest underdog story should be considered a legend, including Danish goalkeeper Kasper Schmeichel. His incredible saves helped Leicester City win the Premier League and the FA Cup, and he twice won the club's Player of the Season award, as well as reaching the semi-finals of Euro 2020 with Denmark. His father was part of an equally impressive underdog story. Many don't associate Peter Schmeichel with being an underdog, since he's best known as Manchester United's goalkeeper, where he won the Premier League 5 times and the Champions League, and was the only goalkeeper to ever win the Premier League's Player of the Season award. His underdog story comes from the Denmark national team, who only qualified for Euro 1992 because Yugoslavia were kicked out of the tournament due to war. Denmark surprised everyone. Schmeichel made save after save against England and France in the group stage, then saved a Marco van Basten penalty against the Netherlands in the semis, and kept a clean sheet against Germany in the final. Against all the odds, Denmark won Euro 92 in one of the international football's most incredible underdog stories. The question we're all secretly wondering is, if two legends' dads had a fight, who would win? In the words of Jared Bowen's father-in-law, Danny Dyer, which player's dad is a proper football hard man? Well, you could certainly make a case for Robert Lewandowski's dad. Lewandowski might be a pencil-thin striker who scored more than 600 career goals for the likes of Bayern Munich and Barcelona, and arguably should have won the Ballon d'Or in 2021. His dad, though, was a national judo champion. As well as being the best judoka in the whole of Poland, Krzysztof Lewandowski was also playing football in the Polish second division, but tragically died before his son's career really got going. Krzysztof isn't the only martial artist in the Lewandowski household either. Robert Lewandowski's wife once came third at the Karate World Championships, so how will Lewandowski's dad get on against Gianluigi Buffon's old man? Buffon was named the world's best goalkeeper 5 times in his career and won the World Cup in 2006. A key attribute of any goalkeeper is strong arms, and Buffon was blessed there. His mom was a discus thrower, and his dad was a weightlifter who represented Italy in the shot put, which is a fair bit heavier than the balls footballers use these days. So, let us know in the comments, who would win in a fight, Buffon's dad or Lewandowski's dad? Imagine winning the World Cup, then having 2 sons who were both incredible at football, or using your own football talents to make your son unstoppable. More on those stories later, as well as settling the debate over which dad was the best, Messi's or Ronaldo's. This next footballer's dad, though, not only played for his country, but also helped run it. Liverpool midfielder Alexis McAllister won the World Cup with Argentina in 2022, where he got an assist in the final. He was also crucial to La Albiceleste's 2024 Copa America win, as well as winning the Premier League with Liverpool. His surname might not sound typically Argentinian, but his family has a lot of Argentinian footballing pedigree. His younger brother also plays for the national team, and his dad, Carlos McAllister, played for Argentina in their crucial qualifying playoff for the 1994 World Cup, alongside the likes of Diego Maradona. Despite playing in those playoff wins, he was left out of the World Cup squad. Despite a solid career for the likes of Boca Juniors, Argentinos Juniors, and Racing Club, Carlos McAllister's biggest contribution to his country's football came after his playing career. He started his own youth football club and also went into politics, where he was elected to represent La Pampa province and became the country's Minister for Sport from 2015 to 2018. This next player is such a legend that when Pep Guardiola joined Bayern Munich, he made signing him his top priority. Thiago won the Champions League with both Barcelona and Bayern Munich, as well as a staggering 11 league titles as a talented playmaker with incredible vision. He also played almost 50 times for the Spanish national team, despite being born in Italy, making him one of the few footballers to play for a different national team than his brother. Rafinha played for the Brazil national team and won an Olympic gold medal with Brazil in 2016, as well as playing for Barcelona, Inter Milan, and PSG. Despite the two brothers' incredible medal haul, their dad still has a more impressive trophy. Their father is Mazinho, a member of the 1994 Brazil World Cup squad, where he won football's biggest trophy and was also one of the players in Brazil's famous baby cradle celebration against the Netherlands. Mazinho started his career in Brazil with Vasco da Gama, where he was named the second best South American footballer of 1989, before heading to the top league at the time, the Serie A, where he played for the likes of Fiorentina and Lecce. He then moved to Spain, where he played for Valencia and Celta Vigo. All this moving between clubs in Italy and Spain and Brazil is why his sons Thiago and Rafinha ended up representing different countries. Now, the Messi versus Ronaldo debate has been going on for decades. Whose dad was the better player? Let's start with Lionel Messi's dad, Jorge, who was a steelworker in Rosario and a former youth football player. He was also Messi's first ever coach, coaching at a youth team called Grandoli, where Messi played between the ages of 4 and 6. At that time, he wasn't trying to create a superstar. He just wanted Messi to play for fun and enjoy himself. It was only later that he really became involved in his career as Messi's agent. What about Cristiano Ronaldo's dad? Well, not much is known about his football ability. He was enlisted in the Portuguese army, where he was sent to fight wars in Africa, and the experiences there made him turn to alcohol and struggle for the rest of his life. He did try to help his son's career by becoming the kitman of the local team CF Andorinha. He died when Cristiano Ronaldo was just 20 years old, and perhaps this tough life and alcoholism is what led Cristiano to treat his body like a temple to football, carefully analyzing everything he eats. So, it seems Messi's dad was probably the better footballer of the two. Neymar's dad, though, is better than both of them. He played for several teams across Brazil's lower leagues, including in the suburbs of Sao Paulo, which worked out well for Neymar, as it was close to Santos' academy. His dad didn't earn much money from football, and injury problems eventually forced him to quit and become a construction worker. By then, though, he was fully focused on making sure his son Neymar would succeed. He even became his agent and brokered his mega move from Santos to Barcelona. So it seems Neymar's dad was a better footballer than both Messi's dad and Ronaldo's dad. Now, how about one legend who played for some of the world's biggest clubs, whose dad played for a rival team? Xabi Alonso was a Real Madrid legend, playing more than 150 games for the club and winning the Champions League with both Madrid and Liverpool, and the World Cup with Spain, as well as being named La Liga's best midfielder in 2012. He also managed Real Madrid last season. His football career, though, actually started at Real Sociedad, where he played over 100 games alongside his brother Mikel, who followed him to the northwest England and played for Bolton Wanderers while Xabi was at Liverpool. Their dad was also a famous player for the Basque country club. Perico Alonso was a key player for Real Sociedad in the early 1980s when they did the improbable and won back-to-back La Liga titles in 1981 and 1982, the only two times in the club's history they've won the league. Perico Alonso also played for the Spanish national team at the 1982 World Cup. After the World Cup, though, he joined Barcelona and won the Liga there too, so he and his son Xabi ended up playing for the two sides of El Clasico. The Alonso family is from the Basque country, though, and after retiring, Perico went on to manage several teams, including a brief spell at Real Sociedad, which overlapped with the time his son Xabi was playing there. This next player's dad is so young, he could almost be his son's teammate. Rodrygo is one of Brazil and Real Madrid stars, a guy who knows how to score clutch goals in big matches, like his 2 goals against Manchester City in the last minute of the Champions League semi-final. Like Neymar, Rodrygo started his career at Santos before moving to Spain. His dad, Eric, was also a footballer in Brazil who played as a right-back for a series of clubs in Serie B and was totally focused on the game. He became a dad at just 17, but even at that age, he was already thinking about his son becoming a football legend. He made sure his son's birth was delayed by a few days so that his birthday fell in January rather than December, making Rodrygo older than the other players in his age group, so his talent would stand out. Through Rodrygo's childhood, Eric taught him about football and even brought him along to his own games, so Rodrygo felt like a footballer even as a kid. After Eric retired, he kept mentoring and coaching his son relentlessly to make him one of the best in the world, and signed deals with the likes of Nike when Rodrygo was just 11 years old. Since Eric became a father so young, he's basically the same age as some of Rodrygo's Real Madrid teammates, like Luka Modric, who now jokingly calls Rodrygo's son, and who Rodrygo also calls dad. Now, many people think Erling Braut Haaland was built in a factory, that he's half Viking, half robot. Did you know the Norwegian striker could have played for England? Haaland is only 25, but already has more than 300 career goals, finished runner-up for the Ballon d'Or, and has won the Player of the Season award in both the Bundesliga and the Premier League. His career has been guided by his father, who goes on vacation with Erling to log cabins to chop wood, and who appears on his social media. He's also the reason Haaland could have played for England, because Erling Haaland was actually born in Leeds. His dad, Alf Inge Haaland, played in the Premier League for a decade, starting at Nottingham Forest before moving to Leeds United, then Manchester City. Haaland Sr. sometimes played at right back and sometimes in midfield, and also represented Norway at the 1994 World Cup. There was one moment in Alf's career, though, that might explain why Erling Haaland never played for Manchester United. In a match for City against United, Alf Inge Haaland was on the receiving end of a horrendous tackle from Roy Keane. Haaland had been shouting at Keane in a previous match for going down too easily, and Keane wanted revenge. So, in April 2001, he slammed into Alf Inge Haaland with a high tackle, kicking him above the knee and causing horrific pain. After that, Haaland only played a few more games before retiring, unable to recover properly from the injury. Keane later admitted the dangerous foul was premeditated. So, later when Erling Haaland had the chance to move from Borussia Dortmund to the Premier League, there was no chance of him going to United. Instead, he followed in his dad's footsteps and joined Manchester City and got his revenge by scoring goal after goal against United.